Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Empowered Educator. My name is Ron Schwali, and today what we're going to be talking about is how to become more empowered, and we're going to take a little adventure into your mind. Now, if I say up, you say. If I say left, you say. If I say stop, you say. You all have oppositional defiance disorder. Interesting how that works out. What's interesting is I've never done a workshop or a training where when I say up, someone's actually agreed with me. I've never done a training that when I say left, someone says left, everybody says right. I've never done a training where I say stop, everybody says go, and then nobody actually says stop, or banana, or squirrel. It doesn't matter. We as human beings are designed a certain way. How many of you go shopping? How many of you, when you go shopping, you go into a store, you know you want to get one article of clothing, and that article of clothing, you don't know where it is in the store, so you walk in. The person that their job is to actually show you where your clothing is, walks up to you and asks you, can I help you find something? And what is your immediate response? No, I'm good. It's okay. And then they walk away. That person's thinking, I can't even do my job. You're the 10th person that's, told me that I can't help you. And then you're thinking there, why did I just not ask the person for help? Why is it that we're an automatic no? It's so crazy. What I want you to do is I want you to try this on. Try on that human beings are initially oppositional because that's the way that we're designed. There's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing right about it. That's just the way that we are. Now, when I say try on, imagine you have two articles of clothing. So you go into the store, you find two pieces of clothing that work for you. You look at the price. Obviously, the price makes sense because that way you're interested in buying it. If you go in and you see a ridiculous, some people pay like $200-300 for a pair of jeans. I don't even consider doing it. It's never going to get into my cart. So consider that you go in and you get two articles of clothing. And the first article of clothing, the price is right, or when it made it into the dressing room. You try it on. It fits nice, it looks good, you like it. How long does it take you to make a choice that you're going to purchase it and keep it in your car? Okay, interesting. Now, some people said immediately like that. Other people said maybe a minute or two. By the way, that's all good. See, human beings have opinions. How many of you have opinions? Raise your hand. Okay, how many of you have opinions and you know your opinions are right? Of course. How many of you have opinions? You know your opinions are right, and you've met another human being that has the nerve and the audacity to think that their opinions are right. And then one of our automatic programs, because we've been taught that we're a liquid computer brain, all this is going on in here. One of our automatic programs is to take our opinions and try to implant them into that other person's brain by having them understand that their opinions are wrong and our opinions are right. How many of you have ever spent a minute of your day trying to change somebody else's opinion so it matches yours? 2 minutes? 5 minutes? Your whole marriage? Sorry, is that too touchy? I get it. It's just one of our programs, and there's nothing wrong with it. You have opinions. I have opinions. Have you ever heard somebody say, let's agree to disagree? Literally, if you hear somebody else's opinions, and you can get past that automatic trigger, which is like that oppositional thing that we talked about, where you just feel like you have to change your opinions, you can just go, let's agree to disagree, get that every human being has different opinions, and then we can just move on and have fun and go do something else that we want to do. It's insane how that happens. That sound in the back is my dog scratching on the bed. I could have an opinion that he shouldn't be doing that, and then he's going to do what it is. See, what our mind does to us is it gets in our own way by doing different things that it's been designed to do that stop us from being fully self-expressed and fully happy. I said the word should. We as human beings create expectations. How many of you have ever created an expectation for another human? How many of you have ever created an expectation for another human, never share the expectation with them? And when they don't fulfill the expectation that they know nothing about, who are we automatically programmed and conditioned to get upset at? Them. How does that make sense at all? Like, I'm going to do an example with somebody. Ready? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually do this with everybody here. I'm going to do what we do all the time to our fellow human beings. I'm going to create an expectation. Ready? Okay, here we go. Why didn't you do it? What's wrong with you? Why didn't you do what I wanted you to do? Oh, you're confused. See, I created an expectation in my mind that you would all go YMCA at the same time. Did I tell you that expectation? No. So is there any reason that you would even know I want you to do that unless you can psychically read my mind? No. So then would I have any reason or any right as a logical person to be upset at you? No, but that's how we run our lives. That's what we do all the time. We create expectations for other people, and then we don't tell them what the expectations are. We're not clear about it. When they don't fulfill the expectations, we're automatically responding towards them and getting upset. How many of you have expectations for the parents of your kids? Expectations like, they'll pick their kids up on time. Expectations like they'll call you back. How many of you create expectations that the parents are going to care about their kids as much as you care about the kids? And if you see that they act any way differently than what you want them to do, we judge them and we criticize them in our mind and we get upset at them instead of just getting the parents are the way the parents are, and some of these parents have no idea what they're doing. It's okay. You've been an educator for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and then all of a sudden a parent has a newborn child, but for some reason they're programmed and conditioned to think they know what's best for the child. They're not going to go up, if they're going to have surgery, they're not going to go up to the surgeon and tell them, I think you should slice and dice over here. They're not going to go to their mechanic and say, I think you should maybe work on the flux capacitor, camshaft, the velociraptor. I don't know anything about cars, obviously. But do you get what I'm saying? So why is it that when a human being has a child, the most beautiful, wonderful angel of a creature that has limitless intelligence and limitless energy, why are we as human beings programmed to believe that we know what's best for our child as opposed to actually going up to you as an educator and saying, I'm begging you, please, I have no idea what I'm doing. Here's the funny part too. I talk to my friends that are parents and I ask them, how many books, how many videos, how many people did you consult before you had your child? And they go, oh, not really, whatever, I saw a book, this and that, I watched Bad Moms, whatever it is. But I ask them then, now you just got a dog. How much time I got videos, I went on YouTube, I went on the internet, I looked up books, I asked the vet. It's like, it's so interesting. It's just an automatic pattern that runs us. All right, back to the shopping center. So you try on that first article of clothing, it fits, you either put it back in your cart for 1 second it takes you, or it takes you 2-3 minutes or whatever it is. Next article of clothing, all you're going to do is you put it on. But this time, if this one feels a little snug, and you're kind of looking around with that, I don't recognize that bump when you look in the mirror. How long does it take you to choose that you're not going to get it? Some people it might take a second, some people the same exact time. Either way, for you, as an intelligent adult, and I'm just making an assumption, as an intelligent adult, what did you have to do both times before you were actually able to make a real choice in reality on if you wanted to purchase that article of clothing or not? You tried it on. And that's beautiful. That's all I want you to do. For the rest of this workshop, all I want you to do is just try on what I say. If it fits, take it. If it doesn't fit, throw it out. That's it. Nothing of what I have to say is the truth. Nothing of what I have to say is I'm preaching. This is the way that it is. This is just information. These are words coming out of my mouth. You get to do whatever you want with them, whether you like it, whether you don't. It's totally up to you. That's the freedom that you have. Because as a human being, we have the freedom of choice. And we talked about choice. But here's the thing, before we actually get an opportunity to choose something, we have to realize that there's an opportunity to actually make a choice. Like if you're just stuck in that mode of creating expectations for other people, and then you're constantly noticing how you're getting mad. How many of you create expectations for your drive in the morning? How many of you create expectations that when you leave a half hour to get to your work, so you have to be at work at 9. Let's say if you're not in family childcare, you go to a center. You have to be at work at 9 o'clock. It takes you a half hour to get to work. How many of you leave a half hour before? By the way, when you're supposed to be at work at 9 o'clock, does that mean you pull up at 9 o'clock? Or does that mean you're sitting in your classroom supporting your kids and you're getting all your hugs and you're getting ready for your morning? Which one is it? Interesting. So consider you're driving to school in the morning, you have a half hour to go, and then all of a sudden, a school bus. What? A school bus in the morning? That's insane. And now you get mad at the school bus. How many of you have ever been in this thing in the morning called traffic? How many of you get mad at traffic for being there, even though there's traffic every single day, but there's still traffic? And then you start making decisions with your driving that aren't beneficial to your safety because you never considered for one moment trying on leaving your house 15 minutes earlier than you normally do every day. But it's such a simple concept. Do you think you're going to get road rage? Do you think you're going to be upset? Do you think if they're the nerve of people actually doing construction in the morning and actually using your tax dollars for something that benefits you? But we get upset. If you left 15 minutes early, what's the worst that can happen? You can actually get to the school. And let's say nothing happened in the morning. Get to school 15 minutes early. You can sit. You can have a conversation. You can go on Netflix. You can meditate. You can breathe. You can walk into the school early and with 5 minutes to spare, actually have a conversation with the director or have a conversation with a parent or talk to one of the kids so you're not on the clock. You'll have that freedom internally because that's just the way that we are. What's interesting is that there's two things working all the time. There's the mind, which is that voice in our head. Yeah, that one right there. What voice is he talking about? What's going on? What's the picture behind him? What's this? What's that? That voice in your head goes all the time. All the time, all the time, all the time. And the thing that we haven't been taught, if you've gone through a traditional school system like I have, preschool and then all the way to regular high school, you're not taught anything about the construct of the mind and how that voice in your head is always going to be running and it's not really there to help you. How much time have you spent listening to that voice in your head? Does it tell you you've done a great job, you should wake up tomorrow morning a little earlier and go for a walk? Or does it make up some sort of excuse on why you can have carbs today because you're feeling really bad? That voice in your head creates upset throughout the whole entire day. Have you ever had a situation where something happens the first hour after you're awake, you wake up to a text message you don't like, something on the news, you stub your toe, and then something happens right there, and then you automatically are programmed to say, there goes my... Right, there goes my day. And then you start your day, maybe feeling upset, feeling frustrated. You yell, you have road rage, you walk into school, whatever it is. And then what you do is you spend the rest of the day trying to find evidence on how bad your day is. And you do these. Have you ever had somebody try to do that where you're having a good day and all of a sudden they're having a bad day and they want to share that with you and you're way too happy and they walk by you and they go, and you're like that, and you kind of ignore them, and then they come by again, and then you fall right, what's wrong? Let me tell you what's wrong. He said this, and she said this, and oh my God, my 3-year-old said he doesn't love me, and and we go down that rabbit hole, and we don't even realize why we do it. I'm going to share something with you. We as human beings have created our own upset. We're not taught there's no such thing as a bad day. There's only bad moments that you can stretch out as long as you want. How long have you been stretching out a bad moment that happened to you a decade ago? And you're doing it constantly. And the thing is, you're doing it, you don't even realize it, and there's a benefit to you. The benefit is that you get to be right about something. See, one of the basic constructs of our mind is the love of being right. How many of you like to be wrong? Raise your hand. How many of you like to be right? Raise your hand. Exactly. I didn't even say about what. It doesn't matter. But the thing that we don't understand is that when we're being right and we're making somebody else wrong, like especially like if we have an opinion and we're trying to get them to understand, especially with this whole like election thing and everything, how many of you are trying to get somebody else in your life to understand that their opinion is wrong and your opinion is right, and you're getting frustrated and you're getting upset as going, oh, they're a human, I'm a human, let's agree to disagree. It's a constant thing that happens over and over and over again. It's this structure. And the reason it started is because we've been teaching our kids to give away their power from as young as 2 years old. What do I mean by that? Imagine you're Tammy Tattletale. Everyone's got a Tammy Tattletale, right? Like that. And Tammy does it for what? Attention. I mean, if you stopped giving her attention for it, the behavior would stop. But why would you want to do that? Or you may not even know to do it. You may just think it's a thing. You may, in your life, know that tattling gets you somewhere. So all of a sudden, you're okay with that behavior. Who knows? I don't know what's going on in your mind. You haven't told me yet. I'm not going to make an assumption about it. So imagine a situation where Tammy Tattletale wants attention. And she comes up to you and goes, Billy called me a poopy head. And you're the awesome teacher, and you want to teach the kids empathy, so you take Tammy over to Billy and you say, Tammy, can you tell Billy how he made you feel when he called you a poopy head? And then Tammy goes through all the trained behaviors, all the things that you taught her to say. Like when you tell your kids to go say, I'm sorry, and they don't mean it, their I'm sorry is as authentic as when a cop pulls you over and you say you're sorry. The only reason you're sorry is because you got caught. All right? And then the words usually help you. Maybe you do some sad faces just like the kids do, and hopefully you get away. Does that make sense? Am I getting a little too touchy? So then Tammy, 15, 20 minutes later, wants some more attention. And then Tammy comes up to you and goes, Stacy said that I can't come to my own birthday party. And then you go, oh, I'll help you out. Don't you worry. And then you take Tammy over to Stacy and you go, Stacy, Tammy said that you said she's not allowed to her own birthday party. Tammy, tell Stacy how she made you feel. And that's the problem. Because we're stuck in our automatic patterns. If you want to learn about getting unstuck of your automatic patterns and actually shifting and changing and having a magical life, look up Dr. Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza, and you'll read how 95% of our day we're stuck in automatic patterns and we don't even realize it, and that way we don't have as much choice to make decisions. So think about all the things that we just said to Tammy. Tammy, tell him how he made you feel. Tammy, tell her how she made you feel. We're programming this computer brain to have people realize the falsity, not the fact, the falsity. Is that even a word? I don't know. It is now, whatever. Language is just you make it up, right? You were training your kids just like you've been taught. You've been taught to believe other people can make you feel a certain way. And then you watch TV and movies and you hear other people say, he made me mad, she made me jealous, he made me upset. How many of you have said, these kids push my buttons? You don't have buttons other than your belly button. You literally create your own button, respond to the child, and then get mad when the child does it. That's just the way that it works. So your whole entire life, you've been taught other people can make you feel a certain way. Your director can make you upset. The teachers can make you mad. Your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your friends, they can make me jealous. They can make me outraged. We talked about trying on. Here's your first opportunity to really, really, really try on something that could shift your life and impact you, and allow you to have access to joy and happiness. This may also hit you so hard because for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you've been programmed to be a victim of your own mind. Ready? Try on. Nobody can make you feel any way. Try on. You as a human being, make yourself feel all these ways. Why would it benefit us to try it on? Because that way you can choose to be powerful and responsible. If you live in the victim mentality that we've been taught, that somebody says something to us and then we get upset and we give the power away, we can never be powerful. How are you going to? When literally you don't have any say in your responses. But the beauty of all this, the punchline, you have every say. See, in reality, we hear words. We process the words. We give the words meaning. We evaluate the words, and then we choose how to respond or react in a microsecond. And because we don't understand that's the true, real structure of what's happening in this mind, we don't have any power over it, and we give in to other people. See, no one can bully you without your consent, and I wrote a whole book on bullying. When I was a little kid and when I was heavier, I had glasses and braces, everybody would say this, 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 and that. And I chose to get upset about it because I was trained the same way that you were. Other people can make me upset. And that's the part that we don't understand. See, being an empowered educator, being an empowered human, means choosing responsibility. I was watching a documentary years ago about this boy who got bitten by this radioactive spider, and he became, Spider-Man, I'm just messing with you, okay? But in that movie, the continuous theme, no matter how many times they remake it, with great power comes, great responsibility. So the key to happiness and power in your life is based on the amount of responsibility you choose. For example, when you say, oh, if only mom and dad would, if this would only happen at home, then, boom, here's responsibility, throw it there, and now all of a sudden you choose not to become powerful and not to be a stand for your kid, because then you haven't thought about what else could I possibly do in the classroom in the moment to have them change their behavior. You just dump it on the parents. And there's nothing wrong with it, because if you don't realize you're doing it, it's an automatic pattern, then you can't make yourself wrong about it. But now that you're aware of it, you get to make a choice. One of the things that I'm going to show you are 2 parts of my 5-part behavior system. And the first part is called the pattern interrupt, and the second part is called the pre-frame. Now, when I say behavior management is what we've been trained by the kids. Think about this. A child displays a behavior. We give them a consequence that they don't care about, because obviously they're doing the behavior over and over. The child then displays that behavior. We give them the consequence. They deal with the consequence, but don't care because they got what they wanted in the first place, which was the attention. And then 15, 20 minutes go by. When they want the attention again, they do the same behavior. So it is behavior management, but they're managing your behaviors. Does that make sense? See, my program is behavior mastery. If you follow this system, which is designed the way that the body's designed, not the mind. All these different behavior management systems are fun and wonderful, and they're cute and adorable, but they're geared on the way the mind is and how they think a child's mind should. There it is, the expectation should be. The problem is every child's mind is different, even the people creating these programs, but our body's the same. Everybody said up, everybody said left, everybody said right. People are all designed the same way, so this system works really well. And before I even tell you about it, I'm actually going to show you a quick 30-second clip of me doing the first 2 behavior techniques. And by the way, it's a 5-part system. The first 2 parts are for the 90-95% of your kids that just follow your directions. The other parts, the part 3, 4, and 5 is different, but you can still get the handouts for it. That's for your alpha boy and your alpha girl, the one that's already running your classroom. The first 2 parts are pattern interrupts and pre-frames. Why am I going to show it to you before I just tell you about it? Because your voice in your head doesn't have a choice. It's already saying, this won't work. You don't know my kids. I've tried this. I've tried that. Guess what? Try on. Ready? You don't know everything. It's okay. I don't know everything either. I know a little bit about a little bit of the things that I know about. And I know you know people in your lives that act like they know everything. And the people that know, you know that they really don't know everything, but something internal, it's just a program. All right? So I'm going to show you me doing my behavior management techniques in front of a group of 100+ elementary school kids. So when you see these 2 techniques and how quickly they get 100 kids to refocus and sit crisscross applesauce, now when your mind tells you, oh, this wouldn't work with my kids, this or that or whatever, now you have a contradiction called a fact. You actually saw it work. See, that's the beauty of life. If you don't try new things on, you'll never take new things on. If you're a person that likes pineapple and likes pizza, and you've never tried pineapple pizza, but you know you don't like it, how does that make sense? If you're a person that likes coffee and you like honey, but you've never tried honey in your coffee, but you know you won't like it, how does that make any sense? Instead of actually believing what your mind tells you to do, like have you ever been supposed to go to a situation, go to a party, go to a gathering event, and then your mind told you how you thought it was going to be, and then you actually went and it wasn't, it was so much better? Just get that voice in your head's not there to help you. That voice in your head judges you. Does that voice in your head when you walk by the mirror every morning say, you look amazing, you look great? Or even if you're ripped with abs and you're super healthy, does your voice judge you on what's missing that needs to be fixed in your body? Does that make sense? All right, let's watch the video, and then we're going to talk about the pattern interrupts and the pre-frame.
Gator! Are you guys okay if they're a little tired? Run! Gator! Run! Sing! Run! Peanut butter jelly sandwiches! Freeze! If you're listening, hands in the air. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, sit crisscross, go! I like the way you're sitting crisscross. I like the way you're sitting crisscross. Do I want you laying on your belly or sitting crisscross? Okay, good. So now, one of the things...
So what you just saw was me use two techniques, pattern interrupts and pre-frames. The reason why I do them is because pattern interrupts and pre-frames work with the way the body is designed. If I walk into a classroom of 20, 25 kids and I go, "Roof!" what happens to every single kid? They immediately look right at you. They don't have a choice. These are pattern interrupts that are designed to get the immediate attention of kids for 1 to 2 seconds tops. That's all I want. If all of a sudden you're driving, you're in your zone, you're bopping along, and you hear a honking of a horn super, super loud, you have no choice. You have to go and look and see where that sound is coming from. That's just the way that we are. So 3 pattern interrupts that I use, and maybe you can see them in the video that I just showed you. One of them is singing songs. We're in early childhood. We love singing songs. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. What happens if you want to get all your kids' attention? And instead of going the typical Joey, 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 right? What is that? How many of you ever repeated a child's name over and over? What is that? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result? That's called insanity. And then you go, oh, he's not listening to me. He's always listening. Kids are always listening. Why do we say that? You're not listening. You're not being a good listener. You don't have your listening ears on. But when you say to a child, are you listening to me? And they look at you going, you just asked me, are you listening to me? You don't have your listening ears on. You're not listening to a word I'm telling you. And the child looks at you and says, I heard every single word that you just said. You told me I don't have my listening ears on. They're always listening. They're just choosing not to follow your directions. Why? Because it doesn't benefit them. That's it. That's the bottom line. How many of you have ever tried to quit smoking cigarettes? Anybody? Anybody here ever quit trying to smoke cigarettes? And it's difficult. It's tough. But when you used to smoke cigarettes, I'm sure you had people in your lives that they would tell you should quit smoking a cigarette. Not just strangers, but people that love you and care about you. Imagine a person in your life that used to tell you should quit smoking cigarettes. What did you immediately want to do the second that they said you should quit smoking cigarettes? What? You wanted to light up? And then if I were to ask you with a 360-degree range where you'd want to blow the smoke, where would you want to blow the smoke? Right in their face? Interesting. So a human being that loves and cares about you suggests that you should do something that'll benefit you, and you in fact want to do the opposite and blow cancer right in their face. Don't you love how we are as human beings? It's crazy. So the way to get us out of these automatic patterns is to do a pattern interrupt. Pattern interrupts for adults we're going to go over a little bit later. Right now, I just want you to try pattern interrupts for your kids. Singing songs. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Old MacDonald had a farm. All the kids will look at you. E-I-E-I-O. It's just what happens. That's how we're programmed. I do accents. I change my voice. I do Irish or Scottish or Australian. Oh, I do like an old school. Hello, everybody. But doesn't matter. I'm not auditioning for Saturday Night Live. I'm doing it so the kids look at me immediately. If you already have an accent, and what was the first time that the kids heard your accent, what do they all do? The hardest one, the one that's most challenging, that stops people, that I think is the most fun, are animal noises. If I walked into your classroom and none of the kids are looking at me because they're doing something else, and I would go, oh, 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 they wouldn't have a choice. They'd look at me. I practice my sounds. If I go woof or it's practice. We as early childhood educators get to do these silly fun things at work, not get in trouble, and possibly even be commended. So I was actually teaching a yogarati class, which is what we're going to do another time. Yogarati, it's a combination of yoga and martial arts, and I was teaching this in a school in New Jersey before I moved down to Florida. And we were doing elephant walks, where we would have the kids on their 2 feet, and then we would have one hand on the ground and the other hand up like a trunk so that they learn how to balance on one side or the other. And then what happened was I went and did an elephant noise. I went, ooh! And one of my new kids, he's like, that sucked. Now, I could have had an automatic response, like, oh my goodness, a kid said that sucked, and blah, 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 and this and that. I could have reacted and made up a story and given my power over to that child. Or I thought about it because I've broken myself out of an oppositional pattern of just automatically being reactionary and responding. And I looked at that child and I thought, you know what? That elephant voice really did suck. And then what I did is I figured, let me take an action and choose to be powerful, yet being responsible. And let me look up how to do an elephant noise. And I went on YouTube. You can Google anything. By the way, the days of I don't know what to do with my kids and I don't know what activities to do are 100% gone. You cannot, as an adult in this time, say you don't know what to do with your kids when you can Google activities for a 3-year-old with high energy having to do with weather or whatever theme, and you'll have a whole entire list come up. That's called choosing to be responsible and being powerful, as opposed to blaming the kids for not trying to figure something else out by themselves on what to do. We give them activities. Free play is different, okay? So what I did was I went on YouTube and I learned to make an elephant noise. What you do is, first of all, you wet your lips, and then you pull your teeth in, and your lips like this, like you just took your dentures out. And then you press your lips close together, and you breathe out as hard as you can while pressing your lips together, all right? So we're going to have 2 chances to do this. Now, here's the deal. How you play now is going to also show how you play in real life and how you play in your classroom. So if you're going to do this elephant noise, awesome. Try it on. Why not? What would work is if you tried it on no matter what your mind told you, okay? So let's try it on. Ready? Pull your lips in. First, let's take a breath. Pull them in. Ready? Press down, and as hard as you can. Go. All right, how many of you tried it? Awesome. Now, if you're in a group of teachers and you see some teachers are laughing and their face is red, it's probably because it's the first time they've ever done it. Now, if you're in a group of teachers and everybody else is laughing and you're sitting there like this, and you didn't try it, how's that working for you? How does it benefit you? Those are 2 questions I offer you to ask yourself every single day. If you're in a relationship, how's it working for you? How does it benefit you? If you're on a health program, how's it working? How does it benefit you? If you drive a certain way or you respond a certain way to different people, how's it working? How's it benefit you? If it's working for you and it benefits you, awesome. If it's not working for you, then try on changing it. Might be beneficial, as opposed to just being right about it and making something else wrong and getting stuck in that pattern. So now I'm going to give you another opportunity, second time. If you didn't do the elephant voice, try it. Why? What's it going to hurt? Your self-expression and your joy and your happiness is so important. You know what one of the worst things in life is? Regret. How many years do you want to keep on going with your life not being happy and joyous and fulfilled? And one of the reasons that we don't feel joyous is because we get in our own way way by the programming that's been given to us, like creating expectations on how the world is supposed to be, and then we get mad at the world when we think the world is supposed to be the way that our mind is. If you tried on that just because your mind says something should be a certain way, or another person should be this way or should be that way, guess what? It's not going to happen. And you say that word over and over, should. All right, let's try the elephant noise. And you know what? You should try it, in my opinion, if you want to be happy. If you don't want to do it, it's totally up to you, because when this workshop's over, we're going to be done. You're going to still be around yourself. So what choice are you going to make right now to be powerful and to choose to be responsible? You got this. We can do this. Ready? Pull your lips in. Awesome. Good for you. I want to show you a quick video, but first I want to just talk about that real thing we just talked about, that word should. If you want to have happiness, if you want to have joy, catch yourself saying the word should. The second that you say the word should, you're creating an expectation for another human being or another child. You should all over yourself. You should on your friends, you should on your family, you should on your kids, you should on your job. Should, S-H-O-U-L-D. If you catch yourself saying should, or you feel at any point that you're upset, let's say you're driving, all of a sudden traffic slows down and you're going to be late because you didn't consider leaving early and now you're upset. So you, instead of being upset, unless you want to be upset, if you love being upset, that's fine. I'm going to show you a video on why being upset and having negative thoughts actually only hurts you and your body, okay? Being upset only hurts us. And I'm going to show you a video right now on how that's true based on scientific principles of a doctor who has passed by the name of Dr. Amato, who did an experiment with water crystals and words that were negative and pictures that were negative and pictures that were positive. If you get this, it'll shift your life, because hopefully you'll choose to understand that getting upset and getting mad doesn't benefit anyone, including yourself. I know that you get a rush from being mad. When we feel like we're right, we release dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, and serotonin from our brain into our body. When we feel like we're right, 4 chemicals come out of our brain into our body and we feel good. But we don't understand the consequences going to happen from it. Does that make sense? We're our own drug dealers. Have you ever come home and seen somebody way too happy and you figure, you know what, let me shut this down as fast as possible, and you know the one thing that you promised never to bring up because it'll cause a rift in your relationship? So what do as an intelligent human being? Do you just blow it off and be like, well, they're happy, I'm upset, let me find out what they're happy about so that maybe I can be happy with them? No, what do? You mention that thing, oh, have you heard from her lately? And then all of a sudden, they're upset, you're upset, someone's on the couch, everything's all up in there, and you got a 1-second psychological dopamine drug rush into your mind that you did to yourself. How's that working for you? So isn't it incredible? All right, let's watch the video about water, and hopefully after you watch this, you'll get a real understanding on how it doesn't benefit you to ever get upset ever again. Our body is made out of how much water? What have you been taught? Our body's made out of 2/3 water. Imagine if when you think a negative thought, you change 2/3 of your body from beautiful crystals into like yucky sludge. See, that's the deal. All I want you to do is have access to happiness. So next time you feel upset, you feel triggered about anything, if you choose to be responsible and powerful and get that you did that to yourself, now you can do something to change it. Be nice to yourself. That's all I ask. Nice. N-I-C-E. Nice. First thing, notice. Notice the N in nice. Notice when all of a sudden you're shifting. If you're not happy, if you're not joyous, if you're upset, something is different. Just notice. Wow. Be present in the moment. Notice that something's off. Investigate. What is going on? What is going on with me? And what expectation did I create for this person, this scenario, this situation? How many of you get upset when a car drives in front of you? They're allowed to. Maybe they drive in front of you quickly. Maybe you weren't paying attention. You could choose to be responsible and, I looked down at my phone for a second. I wasn't paying attention. I'll make sure I don't do that again. Or you can blame the other car and get upset. Road rage. Road rage is something that happens a lot, and we allow ourselves to be angry and upset because we stay inside our car. Can you imagine if all of a sudden you get out of your car? Can you imagine if you get upset at somebody, they just cut you off, and then all of a sudden they hit the red light, and you're angry, and you're upset, and now you see them at the red light, and you're going to tell them a piece of your mind, and you're driving, and you're 100 feet away, and you're building up how upset you are, and you're chemically changing your whole entire body, and then 50 feet, and then 25 feet. Now you're all pumped up. I'm going to let them know how I feel, and you pull up right next to them, and you look right over at them, and they're gorgeous. Are you still upset? It's amazing how we choose to change the way that we're being because of the way that we are. It's insane. That's just the way that we run our body, but we don't even realize these structures that happen. Remember, you saw me do pattern interrupts, get the kids' attention. Next thing I do is a pre-frame. A pre-frame is an over-the-top, obnoxious hint as what I want the other human being to do, but I'm communicating clearly. That's a difference. We've spent all this time thinking that communication is I say something to someone. If they don't understand what I'm saying, it's their fault and it's their responsibility. We don't act that way towards a child. If a child doesn't understand something that we're saying, some people just blame the child. Other people will go, oh, okay, that child didn't understand it. Maybe they're more visual. Maybe they're more kinesthetic. Maybe they're more auditory. So I'm going to change my communication so that they understand it. Does that make sense? I do the same thing with pre-frames. A pre-frame over the top obnoxious hit, what I want you to do. First one I use, everybody probably already uses it. You don't even realize it's an actual tool that you've been trained. I like the way. What happens if all your kids are standing, they're at their centers, they're doing this and doing that, and then you go, I like the way you're sitting crisscross, I like the way you're sitting crisscross. What happens? All the kids just turn into like crisscrossitrons, like, and they go crisscross. Maybe not all of them. Maybe your alpha boy, your alpha girl stares at you and gives you the wrong answer on purpose. That's called a challenging behavior. They're getting the attention that they want. That's for a different conversation right there. That's okay. We'll talk about that another time, different workshop. With the kids, we want to say, I like the way, because it's a clear communication. But here's the beauty of humans. Ready? I'm going to actually try that with you. Okay, here we go. Ready? I like the way you're sitting up straight. I like the way you're sitting up straight. I like the way you're sitting up straight. All the way up. I see you. I like the way you're sitting up straight. I like the way you're sitting up straight. Okay, awesome. Now, what did I want you to do? Yeah, sit up straight. How many of you knew I wanted you to sit up straight, were about to sit up straight, and then caught yourself sitting up straight and made a choice? I'm not sitting up straight. And you wonder why your kids are spiteful. That's just the way that we're designed. So I use another pre-frame, an auditory pre-frame. So let me ask you a question. Is my favorite color black or is my favorite color blue? Which one? Blue, because I raise the tone of my voice. Is my favorite TV show, let me see, is my favorite TV show Walking Dead, or is my favorite TV show America's Got Talent? See, you know what it is because I change the tone of my voice. I'll do a visual pre-frame. Do I want you running or do I want you sitting crisscross applesauce? And it's obvious. Is my favorite number 7 or is my favorite number 33? I don't know. I just made those numbers up. But because you know that's how it works. And if you get really good at this, if you pattern interrupt, by the way, this is a choice. You can do the things that you were doing before. If they're all working and your kids are all following your directions, they're always listening. If they're all the tools that you're using are working, awesome. If you have something that's not working, see if you can put your ego aside for the possibility of you communicating clearly with your kids, and you can be as happy with your kids so you can have fun with them. By the way, too, also, how many of you had this thing in your head that you don't want to get your kids too excited? I don't want to get them too riled up because then I'll never be able to bring them back. And then you suppress their self-expression, and you suppress their play, and you suppress their joy because you're afraid of what something could happen. That's our mind. It makes up fears on what could happen, and most likely, how many times do you worry about things in your life that could possibly happen that never do, but you stop yourself from taking an action? So that's the same exact thing with the kids. You just saw before a video of me pattern interrupting and pre-framing, getting 100 kids refocused, so you can do it too, and now you get to be powerful about it. So let's review pattern interrupts. Woof, meow, wow. Accents. Do a noise. Would you like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? It doesn't matter. The kids will just look at you. And then I like the way, I like the way, I like the way. Do I want you doing this or do I want you doing that? And when you do auditory, visual, and kinesthetic cues, every kid's going to know what you want them to do. That's the beauty of it. It's clear communication. Whether they do what you want them to do is a whole different story. Does that make sense? And think about this. We make up stories a lot about what's going on with kids based on our interpretation as opposed to reality. Watch this quick video of a little boy, and I want you to tell me how old you think this child is, and then what's the story that you make up in your head about the behavior, and then when we're done watching the video, what's the story about the behavior that you made up after. Does that make sense? Here we go. What was your voice in your head telling you when you were watching that? Was it telling you initially, oh my God, there's something wrong with the child, I need to go take care of him, I need to go help him, and then you saw him stand up and fall back and then do the acting again and again and again, and by the end of it, it's like, I'm not dealing with this. I tell people, watch the dog. If there was really a concern going on with the kid, where would the dog be? Would the dog be walking around with mom, or would the dog be 100% with the child taking care of them? See, what I want you to get, if you get one thing and one thing only, that voice in your head, it's just a program. It's designed to be there. In 10, 20 years, we're going to know why, hopefully. It's called future science. If I told you 20 years ago that you would have a computer in your hand that not only makes phone calls, but shows you videos, connects you to the whole entire planet, you'd say I'm out of my mind. Back then it was magic, now it's future science. That's it. We energetically connect with each other. How many of you have ever thought, oh, I wonder what Susie's doing, and all of a sudden the phone rings and it's her? Future science, we're going to understand that we have energetic cords that connect ourselves to everyone. Our energetic cords connect to our kids. They connect to the parents. They connect with everybody. We are loving, wonderful creatures. And then as human beings, we have this thing in our head that gets in our way. We don't understand how it works until you have a seminar like I did in 2001, did one called the Landmark Forum. Amazing. My first introduction into this type of thinking is almost 20 years from now. And you're still maybe only learning some of this for the first time. It's crazy. But that's how it is. It is what it is. You can create an expectation. It's going to be the way you want it to be. Or you can just get life is the way that life is. There's no such thing as control. And we just get to experience ourselves. And once in a while, I offer you also an opportunity to listen to your inner child. The little kid inside you that loves playing with the little kids that you work with. That inner child, that one wants to be with you, wants to connect with you. Every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, once a day, just shut off everything, your phone, your TV, talk to your inner child. Just say, how are you doing? What's going on with you? Am I taking care of you? Are we having fun? Are we taking life too seriously? These are just things to consider. Remember, we're stuck in automatic patterns. We started this from the beginning. If I say up, you say, oh. Wait, if I say left, you say, nice. If I say up, you say, someone said squirrel? That's awesome. I want you to get something. You have been spending less than an hour time with me. And I made you aware of one automatic oppositional pattern that exists. Pattern. I said parent. That was a little Freudian slip there. Oppositional parents. Anybody? We're humans. If you are aware of an automatic pattern that you're stuck in, you now get to make a choice to change the pattern or not. If you don't realize that you're allergic to something your whole entire life, and you've been getting a rash, and one day somebody, maybe non-traditional medicine, maybe homeopathic, maybe Eastern, goes, well, maybe it's this thing that you're allergic to. All of a sudden you become aware that you're allergic to this thing. Well, guess what? Now you're aware. You can still eat that thing and still be allergic and get the rash, but at least now you're powerfully choosing, I'm going to put this thing into my body. I know I'm getting the rash. It's the same exact thing with how we communicate with ourselves and with your joy and happiness. So that's my request of you. Keep an eye out for different patterns. If you see yourself get stuck in one, maybe try to break out of it. Always ask for help. Get that you're rock stars. I appreciate you. I love you all. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your conference. Have an amazing rest of your day. I appreciate you.